Hey everyone, welcome back. Saturday afternoon, 12:15 Eastern Time, every Saturday. Hope everybody's doing well, having a good holiday season so far this year. I know Hanukkah starts tomorrow evening, so to all of you that out there that observe Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah to everybody. Hope you have a healthy season this year. So here we are. I almost forgot to launch the stream. I was just doodling here, looking around, making sure I got everything set up and going, and then I looked up at the clock and I went, oh, it's 12:13, which is the time that I usually begin the stream. So anyway, a couple of things. Let's see. First off, I don't know if those of you who also live stream noticed that there was a little bit of a change in the YouTube studio this time. For me, anyway, I don't know if they're rolling it out in phases or not. But when I signed on this morning, I saw the difference. I could show you kind of with the rear view shot here. If you kind of look right here, you could see that the preview window for the stream is larger now, and they've kind of categorized things into different tabs, moved things around a little bit. So that took a little getting used to, but not a big deal. But I was just like, oh, okay. So that's something new. But that's not the only thing. I know there's been a lot of revisions to YouTube Studio. One of them, it says right there, in the studio, it says they've added dual stream capabilities. And at first when I saw that, I was like, oh, cool. We can send the stream out to, more than just YouTube. But that's not what it was. It's actually so you can dual stream out to your shorts. So they would take this, what it says here. I haven't done any research on it because, like I said, I just found it this morning when I set things up. But it says it will automatically generate a vertical cropped version for the shorts feed. I find that interesting because of some of the things we do in these live streams and the different formats that we choose to show. Be curious to see how it would dynamically crop that and make that work as a short. I might have to test that out during the week with either a private or unlisted stream. Hey, if you guys have, those of you that live stream, if you've tested this out already, let me know down in the comments. All right, so we have several people here so far. Let's go over and say hello to everybody in the comments. We have Grish. Good morning, Grish. Did you wake up, roll out of bed, and get ready for the stream? Welcome. Glad to have you here, Dave. Good afternoon, Jeremy. I may be in and out during the stream working on a project that is quickly ballooning, into something much larger than anticipated. Well, I wish you a lot of luck with that. Sorry I missed your stream last night live, but I did watch the recap this morning and enjoyed it very much. Keith Bennett, welcome. There you go, Keith. Look, there they are. There's one. There's the other. If you notice the lights in the background, I always admired them in Keith's live stream. Now he's got more than two, but he's got a lot more room behind him in his studio than I do right here. So they turned out to be a lot larger than I anticipated when I got them in person. So pretty much only have the room for two. And even though I ordered the silver ones, they are looking gold to me in the video. So but to the point where I actually went back and I checked the box to see what I make. Did I order the wrong ones? Oh no, I ordered silver. But anyway, I like them. I think it gives the studio a finishing touch. It actually illuminates the poinsettias there a little bit more. You can see them. There's just a little bit of a glow on top of them there. And same thing here. Whereas without them, they were kind of lost in the background. So pretty happy about that. We have 11 people here, 3 likes. If you guys don't mind, do me a favor, smash the like button. It kind of helps the channel, and I also appreciate that very much. By the way, anybody notice anything different besides the 2 lights in the set? And Keith says, let's rock. Yes, thank you. Wasn't sure I had what I was going to talk about today, but I came up with a couple things. Might not be as long of a stream as normal, but that's okay too, because we have company coming over the house for dinner around 3 o'clock. So we have a poll going today. If you guys didn't see that already, we have 6 votes. It says, have you recently received Google Groups phishing emails? And the reason I put that in the poll is because I have, in fact, this week, 2 of them. On my Quick Tech Solutions channel, not the Tony at quiktechsolutions.com email, but the one that's associated with the channel is the quiktechreview at gmail.com. So I figured, let me make a poll. We'll talk about that briefly. And if you are not getting them, fantastic. If you are getting them, we could at least show you what to do to remove the groups you've been added to, and how to prevent administrators or group moderators from adding you to groups without your permission, because it's basically a phishing scam to get you to click on things in the email. I'll show you the email, but they also know that they can bypass a lot of filters using services like Google, so they add you and then they exploit your email address to tend to their nefarious activity. So anyway, that's why I made that poll. So if you could go ahead and weigh in on the poll, that would be greatly appreciated. And then I had another one, which I am going to jot down on my phone, because I had another thought after I started that poll, and I just don't want to forget my thoughts. So let me just jot it down here, just put a keyword so I remember, because I'm forgetting already. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. All right. There we go. I won't forget that now. All right, moving on through the comments. Good afternoon, Tim. Getting ready for the Christmas holidays. Hope you are as well. Things are going well here so far. Can't complain. I think all the shopping's done. I'm waiting for 1 or 2 things to arrive. But for the most part, I think we're pretty good to go. Hey, Alonzo, welcome. Yes, enjoy your time out with your lovely wife, and appreciate you listening in on the cell. By the way, pretty cool pictures you sent me this week, Alonzo, regarding the RJ45 Keystone ports lighting up. So I'm guessing by the pictures you sent, everything, those jacks worked as expected. So way to go. Chris says he woke up early today. 9:20 a.m. The twinkle lights, yes, there they are. They came. I ordered them on Saturday, Keith, after you sent me the link, right after the stream ended, and they got here on Tuesday. So pretty cool. Chris said I got an auto email rejection spam. They sent email from another host pretending as you to yourself. Google then rejects it, but it rejects is sent to you, but you still see it. Yes. Well, hopefully now I'll start to get those rejection notices, because I didn't have my Google Groups preferences set up exactly the right way. So now I should no longer be able to be added to these groups without my permission. Yeah, bypasses. Yep, bypasses the filters. Yep, thank you, Alonzo. Enjoy your time with your wife. Will do. Will do. I mean, like any other phishing email, looks pretty realistic. I scanned it for errors. I looked behind the scenes a little bit. They did a really good job. All right, so I think we got covered. Everybody covered to say hello. Let me get that off the stream. And let me know if the lights are too distracting. Has anybody noticed that I don't have the RE320 in front of me for this stream? I'm going solely with the Hollyland wireless microphone. I have it right here next to Santa's head. By the way, I do have my, remember I told you I have 3 Harley Davidson Christmas shirts? Well, here's the second one. And there's the elf. She's just not the dominant figure in the shirt, but that's her right there, Keith. So we got Santa, the elf sitting or standing in front of a motorcycle, and I have the Hollyland wireless right there. I did put the black sticker on it to try to camouflage it on the shirt a little bit. So hopefully it sounds okay. The reason I did that is because when I watched the stream back last week and the last couple of weeks, I noticed that if I accidentally hit the mic or because of its proximity, like here it is right here, I just have it out of screen. Sometimes I'll bump it as I'm moving and also tapping on the desk and things like that. So I said, you know what, for the stream, I think I can get away with using the wireless microphone. For the videos, I will go back to using the RE320. But like I said, I hope it sounds okay. Let's see. Happy Saturday all from Carm Brister. Oh, welcome. I don't think I've seen you here in the stream before. Welcome to the channel, and thank you for being here. From sunny and warm South Florida. Yeah, we are in the high 60s today for a change. It's been cold the last week and a half. And I did some work outside this week that I'm going to share with you, but it was getting ridiculously cold, like for here, for North Carolina, highs of 52, 53. So today we're hitting 68, which is okay with me. Chris says, I really didn't notice. It sounds really good. Thank you, Dave. I have the levels kind of set where they would normally be for the RE320. I have it down pretty far on the shirt here, so I'm glad it sounds good. Keith says it sounds great on the phone. Thank you. Tim says, I thought I noticed a slight difference in audio. I do prefer your normal mic, but this is acceptable. Fair enough. I mean, it's a wireless mic, right? It's not a studio mic like that, but I think I'm going to utilize this for live streams moving forward. That is, unless I watch the stream back tomorrow and am not happy with the sound, then I'll make a decision after that. But hopefully it's respectable. Okay, cool. All right, so besides the dual stream option that YouTube has added, they've added a bunch of AI stuff too. I did watch a quick video because I wanted to learn more about the dual stream right before the stream, while I was actually waiting for the stream to start, which is why I almost went late. They had like a 4-minute video, and it's available to you creators on your YouTube studio where it says dual stream. It says learn more underneath that. If you click the learn more link, it'll take you to that 4-minute video and it'll go over all of the features. But one of the things is they've added to the copyright protection. They're adding in 2026, in January, they said most of the creators will have this feature, a likeness feature, which prevents people from using your likeness in AI videos and publishing content in your likeness out on YouTube. You do have to, from what I saw in the video, you do have to set up a one-time, I guess, likeness profile. And then once that's set up, you be able to see if there are any videos out there and remove them. So I think that's a good feature, especially in this day and age, to have. So again, those of you out there, creators that are joining in, you might want to check that out and look into that. All right. So And yes, I do have my handy dandy iced coffee with me. Grandstream released yesterday they talked about it in their upcoming announcements and things, and we've talked about it here in the stream, but they released their Pro Switch line yesterday. There was a video on it, and let me just mute that. I'll just bring the video up over here for you guys to see. I won't play it for content reasons, but so there's the video that was released yesterday. I'll put the link in the chat. Let me copy that. So the Grandstream Pro switches. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. Yep, Pro Witches. Oh, I left the S out. That's what I get for not looking. But anyway, there they are, and they were announced. This video was, like I said, released yesterday, and they apparently made improvements on their Pro switches in speeds and throughput. But there's a lot more that I didn't realize that they added. They have a bunch of different models. So what I want to do real quick is just bring up Grandstream's webpage, go to their switches. And then I also took a few minutes this morning to put together a spreadsheet comparison between 3 switches just to really appreciate what the update was. So let's see. Let's move back here. Okay. So the 7800 Pro series, and if you're thinking, well, they already have a 7800 series, that's correct. They do have the 7801, 7802, 7803, 7816, 7806 that all came out previously. But you can see they have a bunch of different models here. And if we, instead of looking at that spec sheet, just let me bring up, hold on. So you don't have to see this, everything, all the steps to get to it. So I used to own the 7806P. So that's a 48 port switch that I'm familiar with. That's the one that I had mentioned a couple of times that was very loud. And I tried changing the fans on it, but didn't do any good. In fact, I put the original fans back in. So, but I have familiarity with that switch, so I used the specs from that switch to compare against, because they came out with 2 versions of the 7806 in the Pro. So, where is it? Here we go. Let me go back up on screen again. I'm not using my Super Source today because the Pi is acting up a little bit, the Raspberry Pi. So, but anyway, I put this together real quick this morning. So column B is the GWN 7806P. Column C is the GWN 70, I said 70, did I say 7806P here? And then this is the 7806PL. And then column D is the GWN 7608PH. So a couple of key differences. They all have 48 port gigabit Ethernet, which I was kind of hoping that in the Pro model, they weren't, all the ports weren't, well, the RJ45 ports weren't gigabit, but they are, so no improvement there. The SFP plus ports, well, on the 48 port models, they all have the 6 SFP plus ports. On the newer Pro switches, the smaller models, like the 7801P and all, some of them have some of the SFP ports are 2.5 gig ports, but on the 48 port model, they're all 6. You get 6 SFP plus ports. As far as the PoE standards, 802.3 AF AT on the 7806P and the 7806PL. but on the PH, it supports 802.3 AF, AT, and BT, and then you can see the PoE per port here. So you have 60 watts on the 7608 PH. And then the total PoE budget, 400 for the original, 400 for the PL, the new Pro, and then 720 total PoE budget for the 7608 PH. Switching capacity hasn't changed. On the routing, there's a significant difference. You got 32 static routes under IPv4 and IPv6, as opposed to 1K, it says here, on IPv4 and IPv6 on the two Pro switches. Policy routing doesn't exist on the 7806P, and they say it's pending, so I'm assuming that's coming in a future firmware update. Here's a new one and an interesting one. AV control. So nothing on the original switch, but the two Pro, the 7806PL and the 7806. Oh, look at this. Look what I did here. No wonder I'm saying it wrong. I reversed. This is 7806. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay, so they have what's called a built-in SDVOE controller, which basically stands for, from what I understand, is software-defined video over IP. And software-defined video over IP is capable of handling uncompressed 4K 60 audio, video, and controller data over a 10 gig network. So that's an area that they seem to be moving in. So that'll be curious to see how that plays out, to keep an eye on that. Multicast was improved, IGMP and MLD from 256 groups to 640 on the Pro switches. Now on the RAM and the CPU for the original switch, I couldn't find the specs on that anywhere. Trust me, I looked. Grandstream's spec sheet does not list them. I did a Google search, and so did Jeremy, because I reached out to him because I know he has this switch. And I asked him if he would log in to see if he could find it, and he tried even via the command line, but we both came up empty. So the new switch, apparently they improved on the RAM and the CPU. Again, I don't have the comparison, but I'll take their word for it there. As far as redundant power, the original, no. And then the 7806PL, 460 watts for redundant power, and up to 800 watts on the PH. And I guess the difference between the PL and the PH is basically the total wattage, the PoE per port wattage, things like that. Number of fans. Now this is an interesting one because the original had 3 fans, and that was loud as a beast. So I'm hoping they've added a fan on the 2 Pro models. I'm hoping that they've done something to improve the fan noise on that model. And then QR code, and what I mean by that is on the front of the actual switch, in the left corner where like Ubiquiti has their little display, Grandstream has a QR code that you can easily scan with your phone for management purposes. You can add it to gdms.cloud or GWN Manager. So you don't have that option on the original switch, but you do on the 2 new Pro level switches. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. So I am supposed to get one. I just don't know at this point what one I'm being sent. So when I was asked, I was like, sure, but I said, whatever you feel is appropriate that you want to send me. So anyway, that's what's happening with the GWN Pro line switches. And that was just one of the many different flavors that they have coming out in the Pro line. I was hoping for 2.5 gig RJ45 ports, but nope. All right, let's go back here. Pro witches are you using the stream Deck PI version, Stream Deck Pi version. I am using the Stream Deck. I'm using the Raspberry Pi as a background simply for my super source. With the Stream Deck, I'm using Companion, which is running on my main computer. So, hey, good morning, Joe. Welcome. Glad to have you here. All right, I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty quick stream today. But that's okay. And Tim says, likewise, I hope they run quieter. Yeah, quieter for sure. But then again, think about what they're geared for. They're geared for business, hotels, educational institutions. So they're probably stored in a rack or a data center somewhere far away from living beings, right? So even if they are noisy in that respect, I guess it really doesn't make a difference. But running in a lab situation like this or a studio, it's not, they're loud. So, all right. Thank you, Joe. Do they look familiar? Can you guess where I got the information to purchase them? Thank you very much, Keith Bennett. Tuesday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. There we go. Keith goes live every Tuesday, and I'm going to hold you to that, Keith, to bring Ratzo out, I guess, next week, right? No, not this week. The week before, the Tuesday stream before Christmas. So I'm going to hold you to that. Yes, sir. Ratzo. All right. So that was it with the, I just wanted to mention the Grand Stream release. They're also supposedly coming out with the point-to-point. It's supposed to be out this month, from what I understand, and I'm hoping to get my hands on one set of them so that I could test them out. The last email I received from my contact was this month. Well, we're in the middle of the month now, or January. So they're coming down the pike as well. The NAS, I know if Terrell's here, I know the NAS line is not projected to come out until mid to late quarter 4, 2026. So, all right. So I did some work outside today. It doesn't look like we have any new comments yet. Let me do this. Let me just get rid of all that stuff there. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, the spam emails. Let me just bring that up real quick. The Google spam. Like I said, I was added this week to 2 different Google groups, not by my doing. So, let me go into the email. All right, let me switch over. So I got this one this morning at 1:52 a.m. Hi, quiktechreview at gmail.com from whoever added you to the Audit Vision Engine group. Couldn't tell you. Obviously trying to get you to click on it to see what it is. Not happening. Google Groups allow you to create and participate in online forums and email-based groups with a rich community experience. You can also use your group to share documents, pictures, calendars, invitations, and other resources. Again, another link to click. Don't do it. So, I mean, does it look pretty legit? Yeah, I mean, it looks like an authentic email. If you do not wish to be a member of this group, you can send an email to audit-vision- Engine Plus. Again, I wouldn't click on that. I wouldn't click on any of the links, but you see how many opportunities to get you to click and fall for it so that they can get your information, potentially use it maliciously. Again, view this group. If you do not wish to be added to the groups in the future, you can opt out here. Visit the Help Center, and center spelled C-E-N-T-R-E, which I thought was odd. So that's what the email looks like. And as far as, let's go into this is a legitimate group that I signed up for years ago. You could see 2011. But if you go into, where is it here? Global settings under the gear icon, you got allow group managers to, and then the first two options say add me to their groups and invite me to their groups. I guess the one, I unchecked both, but the one you definitely want to uncheck is the first one, add me to their groups. And I did that for all my Google accounts. I didn't realize I had them checked. I guess I just went with the defaults at the time when I created these emails. But fortunately for my main email, I haven't had any issues. And then with the Quick Tech Review email, I had the two groups here. So since they had been set that way, the preferences set that way for so long, that's not bad. But just recently, within the last week and a half, I was added to those two groups. And then there's over here next to the icon where you can add members. I'm the owner of this group, so I can't leave it. But the groups that I was added to, if you click on this icon here in the upper right, in the right-hand corner of the list, that'll remove you from the group. So in any event, yeah, so this week I noticed activity with my quiktechreview at gmail.com account. So we took care of that and should be good for now. Let's see how the poll is doing. So we got 91%. So we have 12 people here, 9 likes. Thank you, folks. 91% of you say, no, you have not received the phishing email or been added to any groups. Good. Can you guess who well, I'm assuming 9% is 1% of the 11 votes. Can you guess who that is? So anyway, it looks like we have 12 votes and 12 viewers. So we're going to go ahead and end that poll right now. Because I want to add the other poll. Come on, let's end it. Oh, that's interesting. What's going on here? Sign into chat. I think my YouTube studio just spazzed out on me here. Ah, boy. All right, let's do this. Huh. Okay. Says something went wrong. It looks like I'm back now. Something went wrong. I lost the chat. Interesting. Well, that sucks. Let's do that one more time. Let's refresh it again. See if the chat comes back. Wow. I lost my chat. 15 concurrent viewers and 11 likes, but I lost the chat. Let's see if I lost the chat on YouTube Studio. As you can see here, if I show you the rear view, you can see there it says the monkey with the hammer says something went wrong. So I lost my chat, but I'm still live according to my phone. Let's see if the comments keep coming in through, because I'm connected. I'm linked through H2R graphics. Let's see if the comments, so it looks like the comments are coming in still. So Keith says Ratso will be in full grandioseness. Cool. Hello Mircea Mercia 1969, welcome. Keith says, thanks for the tip. We'll check them once I get in the studio today on a Saturday break. Yeah, so I'm getting the chats here. So it's just a glitch with YouTube Studio. I wonder if it has anything to do with all the revisions. Keith says, use a new browser. As long as I have them here, I mean, you're probably right, but I'm not signed in to my YouTube account on any of the other browsers on the machine. Keith says it's a bug. Does anyone know if there's a detailed video available to set up WireGuard? What device? I mean, I have on this channel a video on setting up WireGuard on a GrandStream GCC router. Other than that, I have not set it up on other devices. So if you kind of specify what vendor, maybe there's somebody in the chat, if it's not GrandStream, that can point you in the right direction. Or maybe even I can point you in the right direction. All right, so 16 people here, nice. So that's that. So that was the thing with the spam emails. So now I want to update you on the outdoor project a little bit. I did get to work outside a little bit this week, and I recorded a little bit of footage, not a lot, just to kind of show you, give you an update on what's been going on. So I actually got the outdoor switch installed next to the on the wall next to the pergola. That'll be under where I was planning on putting the TV. So I got the Cat 6 cable up and into the box. I got the ground wire up and into the box, and then I also have the ground wire from the switch ready to attach. It was cold. I got cold the day I did this, so I stopped, but I just want to play the video for you and kind of give you an voiceover as we go. So you can see I ran the cabling down, I attached it to the brick, ran it down and under, and now up behind the leader pipe. I got to push it in there a little bit. And then I went up in through the soffit behind the actual leader pipe and tacking it down along the bottom here. Let me just rewind it. I'm not really happy with the way that turned out. I used clips with masonry nails, and they make them for this purpose. But you can see here I attached the ground wire to the ground lug. But I think I was just being a little lazy because it was cold. I can't get those masonry nails tapped into the mortar as far as I would like them to go. They're secure, but I just don't like the way it looks. And because they're not in all the way, you could see the wires not pulled as taut as it, well, at least as taut as I would like it to be. I mean, they're not going to fall out, but I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to, since now the holes are started in the mortar because of the masonry nails, I think I will do it the right way, the way I should have done it initially. I was just being lazy because of the temperatures, but I will now pre-drill, probably pop those out, pre-drill those, and use the little blue Tapcon nails to make sure I can get it in all the way and tighten down the clip around the wire so that I can kind of pull that wire taut and it look a little neater, and then I don't have to worry about it. So I did that, and then I was working by myself, so it was like up and down from outside to down off the ladder, upstairs into the attic on the rafters. So I'm going to show you the inside, a little inside look at what went on in the attic. So here we go. So that's the entranceway to the attic. So right like in this area down here at the beginning of the actual plankway, the walkway, that's the entrance from the server rack room in the back of the studio. It's a full door entrance, so I don't have to climb up a pull down ladder. And I'm holding a work light in my left hand and my camera in my right hand. So I'll just navigate through. So as we approach the area, you can see the wire. I don't have it tacked. Now you can see, I'll just stop the video when we get to there. So you can see the wire going along in this bay here, if you could follow my pointer. And it goes past and all the way down, I don't know if you can see it here, and then into that corner eave. I got as far as this area here, past this vertical and past this angled beam. I was standing in this area here. Now, I sent fish rods in from the outside, and I was able to manage to get the fish rods up to this area here. So I was basically balancing on the rafters there, taping the wire to the fish rods. Now, you can see it's coming back, and then you can see right here, there's the wire in the box that I showed you last week. And what I have to do is get it back through here. I might even go down the other side over here and then sneak under the plankway here to get it to, here's the door to enter the attic, to get it into this area so that I can get it to come out in behind the rack here. Now, what I'm thinking about doing, I was thinking about pulling a second wire, but then I thought, well, what's the sense? Because I can't, whoops, let me just stop that for a second. There's a reason why I went back to that point. It's not like if I just leave it rolled up in the eave, I'll be able to grab it easily from the outside. So my thought process is, since this is an area here where a lot of service people, the HVAC folk don't have to go there, the electricians don't have to go there, I may leave the wire to the outside coming in here unattached, just leave it loose. And again, whether I decide to go up the left side under here or the right side under here, I will tack it on this side going back to the rack, because that's the area where there's going to be the most foot traffic. So what that'll do for me is, if in the future, this is my thinking anyway, if in the future I ever have to replace it because for whatever reason, I could simply cut it from standing on the walkway and then use it as a pull. That could be my pull string to pull a new wire. So that's my thought process on that. I'm hoping that I won't have to replace it, but that's what's going on. And now, I did stop because it's kind of cold out there, but I also stopped because I finally decided to use this. This is that surge protector that I showed you last week, but I didn't show it to you in hand. I showed it to you on the Amazon website. So you see how tiny it is? And it's the perfect size. I just have the ground wire attached. It's the perfect size to fit. Actually, my thought process is this. Let me just bring this back for a second. So rather than attaching a second weatherproof box just for the surge protector and then looping and then having another, ground wire, I think that this will fit perfectly in this area here. I know it will. I've had it in there. And then what I'll do is I'll bond all 3 ground wires together. This way I'll have a grounded bonded solution down to the earthing pole. So that's my idea. Now, even though this isn't a fast cabling surge protector, I still haven't received that. It's still in transit. So I'll just put that one inside and put this one outside, because this one will fit in the box. The other one isn't. The other one is much bigger according to the specs. So that's my plan, and we'll see how that goes. All right, let's go back to the comments and take a look. Does anyone know if there are current videos for WireGuard and OpenVPN using the current GCC firmware for remote workers? Yeah, the video, check the video on my channel. It definitely covers the WireGuard server setup and remote client setup. I haven't done an OpenVPN video using the GrandStream stuff. Not to say I won't. That's actually a pretty good idea. But you could also probably check, if you're looking at GrandStream gear, check Jason's lab, check Willie Howe's channel. I know Jeremy has GrandStream gear, but I don't think he's done any videos on it. Also check Mr. Tim Tech's channel. Tim is here in the chat. There's a good chance that of those creators, you'll find what you're looking for with the OpenVPN. Yes, I ended up doing the switch. I think I covered the reasons why in a live stream, a couple of live streams ago. So yeah, I ended up going that route. They do make a wire that I could put underground. I do have it. The problem, it's a long story, Keith. It's finding the right wire took me weeks. Tim will tell you, we chatted about that quite a bit. Finding the right wire that was suitable for indoor and outdoor, meaning having the same flame resistant, fire resistant rating for running in walls versus running outdoors. I was finding wire that was rated for outdoors but not rated for that indoor in-wall application. But I do have an outdoor rated wire that can be directly buried. They call it direct burial. It has a gel in it. It's very, very, very sticky and difficult to work with. And if you're using it strictly outside, no problem whatsoever. If you're planning to bring it inside, I guess nothing's stopping you. Just what was stopping me was ethically, and I know it's a wire that I shouldn't be using indoors like that. So I just searched and searched and searched until I found the wire that would do the job. So yeah. Yeah, it was cold. It was cold in the attic too. Not as cold as probably by you. Yeah, I was going to say, want to trade weathers? No thanks, Grish. I had enough of that when I lived up in New Jersey. Keith says, I'm in Washington. We can send you some flood water. No thanks, Keith. Much appreciated, though. Tim says, some of the clips you get nowadays are so cheap that quality is poor. It's hard to find good ones. Yeah, and it's hard to find the clips that they make online with the nails in the little U clip, like they call it a cable clip, obviously. They're made, the wooden ones, they're made for, the ones that are made for wood have a longer screw than the ones that are made for masonry. And the problem with that is you need the longer screw on the masonry, because if you don't have enough of this, not screw, nail, if you don't have enough of the nail to bite, then the mortar can crumble if it's soft, and it'll fall out. So I had a little hard time coming up with that solution. Ended up not buying the combined clip like you see on Amazon, but I went to an actual Ace Hardware store, and they had all different size masonry nails and different clips. So I kind of piecemealed together a solution. But that said, I couldn't really lay into tapping it in, because if I missed, then I'm destroying the wire that I just, like, I didn't want to miss and whack that wire, right? So I was super careful about how I was tapping it in, and I could only apply so much pressure, which is part of the reason why I couldn't get it, fully hammered in. So anyway, attic tour, this is a new view of your setup. Yeah, I haven't taken anybody in the attic. Wish I had a walkable attic. We have blow-in insulation. Well, beyond that gangplank, David, that was all blow-in insulation. So as you can see by the video, I messed it up quite a bit just trying to gently feel for those rafters. Thanks, Tim. So far, yep, I got to get the surge protector installed outside, terminate that end, and then I'll deal with, we have some warmer weather coming up next week a little bit. Maybe I'll go up in the attic one of those warmer days so it's not so cold, and get that wire back to the rack where it needs to be. Hey, TVJ, welcome. Glad to have you here, my friend. Jeremy's saying, I'll trade. It's currently 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So let me say this. Tomorrow evening, it's supposed to go down here to 19 degrees Fahrenheit, which I know for those of you living, where you are, that's nothing. And that was nothing. In fact, my wife said to me this morning, oh my God, tomorrow night it's going to be 19 degrees. I was like, hon, that's nothing. We lived that day in and day out when we were in New Jersey. But now you get spoiled down here. TVJ says it's 25 degrees. Thanks, TVJ. They should look somewhat familiar, but they end up highlighting a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, they shed a little bit of a glow on the poinsettias and the poinsettias up on the rack. Those poinsettias have, let's see, there we go. Those poinsettias have been here for the last couple of weeks. It's just, the background's been dark. Those sparkling lights seem to light it up and glow over it a little bit. I think we talked about this last week a little bit in the stream. About 10 years ago, before I was really working for people, I accidentally slipped in my attic in my other house and fell through. My leg fell through. The story was, it was right before the holidays, Christmas, and my wife wasn't happy because my leg came through right pretty much over the dining room table, where we were supposed to be having Christmas dinner in a few days. So we had, fortunately, her connections, she had contacts to sheetrockers and spacklers, and they came out and they did the repair and in time for Christmas, and one would never know. But that was it. And that was the one, and I hope the only time. I'm super cautious when I'm up there now, up in attics. Hey, Terrell, welcome. 10 degrees there. Yep. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold pretty much everywhere, even here. So, okay. So that was the update on what's happening outside. Let's see. Oh, the other thing I noticed about YouTube Studio change is, oh yeah, they just moved it. Tells you how long you've been online. It used to be when the preview window was smaller. It used to be kind of like right in the corner of the preview window. Now it's all the way up there. Same thing with the stream key. I went crazy down in this area looking for the stream key, and it's a drop down now in the preview window right up there. So anyway, yeah, so a couple changes there. So what is your favorite new piece of gear in 2025? That's a good question. Are we talking networking gear or AV gear? I don't know that if I have to say AV gear, I really didn't buy much in the way of AV in 2025. And again, are you asking the question, is it AV, my favorite piece of AV gear that I own, or is it my favorite just piece of AV gear in general, or networking gear? Damn, I can't put the other poll up because, again, something went wrong with my chat in the YouTube studio. My other poll was going to be, maybe you guys can just answer this down in the directly in the comments. The other poll I wanted to run was, how many of you have your network rack grounded properly to your house bonded system, or directly have the rack grounded directly to a ground rod, an earth rod? That was, I wanted to kind of get a sense of that. So so Keith says either altogether is fine. All right, so if I have to say AV gear that I bought, it would have to be this Hollyland mic. I'm very, very, very happy with it. I haven't added a lot to the studio. Now it's interesting. I hope I don't lose my audio. The receiver's blinking red, and it's the first time I used it for this amount of time. They're supposed to last for hours, so I'm not sure why it's blinking red. You guys can all hear me, correct? Well, I can, if we lose the audio, I could always switch to the RE320, but I'm not happy about that. Joe, if you're still here, you've used these guys for a while. What does that mean if it's blinking red? Does that mean the battery's running low? Because they were fully charged up. So that's interesting. All right. But anyway, AV gear that I've purchased, I would probably say these mics. But AV gear that I haven't purchased that I would probably consider purchasing, I would have, but I have absolutely no use for other than to want to be a geek and play, is the Rodecaster Video. I've wanted to try that since day one. Maybe now the new smaller Rodecaster Video that came out might be an option. I don't know. But yeah. As far as networking gear, my favorite piece of networking gear for 2025 that I own, to be honest, would have to be my Ugreen DS 4800 Plus. All right, let's see. Chris says you guys hear me. Audio is great. Okay. Tim says no earth rod for rack yet. Terrell says can't ground the rack itself. My rack is homemade out of wood. Jeremy says I'm not even sure this building is grounded properly. It's been added on to so many times, so I've attempted to ground, but I'm sure it's not effective. Joe says, I think battery, never seen that, have used them for hours, grab the other transmitter. It's not the transmitter though, Joe. It's the transmitter seems to have the solid blue light. It's the receiver that's blinking, which is odd, unless you're saying the receiver is telling me that the transmitter is going low. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how long it goes. I've not seen that. Keith says the 2ME is a suite. Yes, and that I bought a couple of years ago. So that's why I didn't include that, Keith, in because you specified 2025, so I think I bought that 2 or 3 years ago now, so I've had that for a while. All right, I'm going to keep monitoring. Well, at least I have my idiot lights on the SSL 12 to tell me if I have audio or not. Receiver indicator battery, I believe. Interesting. Well, that I'm not happy about. All right. And Keith is saying regarding the Rodecaster video, do it. Well, I want to, but it's expensive, and I really don't have a need for it, and I don't know if I want to go through the learning curve. But it looks like a fun device. All right. So we have 17 people here and 14 likes, so I'm good with that. We had 19 people here a few minutes ago. So with the rack here, my rack needs to be grounded. It's not grounded to the house bonded system or to the ground rod. I was thinking about running, now that I saw what the electricians did for the backyard, I was thinking about running a number 6 bare copper ground wire from the rack through the attic out down the side of the house and just running it to the ground rod. But in theory, having the conversation with an electrician, he was saying if all your network gear have the 3-pronged outlets, which it does, then theoretically they're grounded because they're plugged into a source that's bonded. The outlet is bonded. So, because I had said to him, do I need, in a situation where you got the device that has the 3 prongs, like all the Ubiquiti devices have the 3, the 2 positive, negative, and the ground prong. But you notice the Ubiquiti devices don't have grounding lugs on the back of them. But the GrandStream do, and that got me to thinking. I was like, well, theoretically, those devices are grounded because they're plugged into the house system, which is grounded and bonded. But they also give you the grounding lug. So that got me questioning, should I ground him? So I've been thinking about buying a 19-inch. They make 19-inch ground bars that fit racks, and then just doing a fail safe and like having a secondary ground. I just noticed we lost the audio. Sorry about that. Not sure what you heard and what you didn't hear. But that's a little disheartening. Well, we'll put you back in the rack and put you back in the charging cradle. Like that. And put you in there. Put you over there for now. So, Joe, you think it was the transmitter is what you're saying and not the receiver. Well, let's try that real quick. Yeah, no, the receiver won't even, the receiver itself, this guy, won't even turn on. So, okay. Well, you know how stuff happens when you're live, right? Well, I kind of assumed red equals dying, but I was just a little, where's David's? I was kind of assuming that red equals dying, but I was just kind of a little perplexed because we've only been live an hour and 6 minutes, and these are supposed to last for hours. So anyway, let's see, where did I? So Keith says, the Rodecaster video is cool, but it has some weaknesses. It needs more keys, yet it has been a lot of fun. Yep. I've been following along with your streams, and Tim says, of course, yes, mine are grounded for 3-prong devices to house grounding. And then at that point, SB by I don't know, says, there goes your audio. And by the way, welcome. Sorry for crucifying your screen name. Lost audio, yep. There it went, yep. There goes the audio, yep. We're back now. Let's see. May not have been seated in cradle properly or something. Have not experienced that. Yeah, it's possible. I guess anything's possible. I'll have to make sure I seat it and then give it a good charge, and we'll try again next week with it, because I kind of like not having this in front of me for the purposes of accidentally hitting it when I'm moving around during a live stream. All right. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Cyber Gizmo, aka DJ Ware. Welcome. Glad to have you. All right, DJ, we kind of been talking about whether or not your equipment rack, your network rack, is grounded to your house system or earth rod, ground rod. We've kind of talked about the updates to YouTube Studio briefly, the new Grandstream 7800 Pro line switches. I gave a little update on the outdoor project. I got the outdoor switch mounted and the Cat 6A cable run to the switch through the attic. So we kind of did an update on all that stuff. I'm going to make another plea. Have not had any more submissions on the rack photos. So guys, I would like to showcase them. I mean, again, if you don't want to send them in, I can't force you. But we have 2 submissions and my own, so that makes 3. So maybe if this week I don't get any more home lab or just even your network rack in general, it doesn't have to be a home lab rack, right? It could just be your network. If I don't get any more submissions, maybe next week we'll just end the year out with, what was next week, the last stream? It's the last stream before Christmas. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream the week in between Christmas and New Year's, depend on what's going on here, but I will be back next week. So maybe we'll plan for next week, if I don't get any more submissions, to just showcase the 2 submissions and my own for 3. Let's look at the polls for the week. Hold on one sec. Switch account and go to the channel and go to the posts. All right, let me just find them. So let's go. New video release 4 days ago, 6 days ago. Yeah, so the 321 backup was last Saturday's. We ended up, we'll start with that because it had just only had like 30 votes when we checked it last week. Do you currently have a 321 backup plan in place? 89 votes, yes, of course. 45% no, but I'm hoping to get there. 48%. And I don't have a backup, just hope for the best, 7%. Moving on to the Monday post, we got 136 people weighed in on this one. How do you securely access your network remotely? WireGuard, VPN, OpenVPN, 69%. Synology Quick Connect, Ugreen Cloud, 5%. Port forwarding, 3%. And 23% say, I don't access my network remotely. Let's see what the comments were on that one. David says, I do allow restricted access read-only to a couple of my security system ports when I'm going away for a few days so I can monitor certain cameras. I may deploy a restricted VPN in the future. However, I will never allow anything through the cloud. Tailscale, NetBird, Zero Tier, yep, and WireGuard. Okay. And let's see, where are we? There we go. Vote for the most affordable but reliable networking gear. 116 people weighed in on this, and you could see the results there. TP-Link 34%, Unify 41%, Grandstream 9%, and MikroTik 16%. Interesting. And then we have, for people just starting out with networking gear, in your opinion, which brand is the easiest to learn? And again, I'm going to reiterate what I said a lot last week. I'm limited to just 4 choices. There are other brands out there, but these are probably the most commonly well-known brands amongst YouTube communities. So we got, for people just starting out, okay, I read that, 104 people weighed in. TP-Link 25%, Ubiquiti 62%, Grandstream 8%, MikroTik 6%. Doesn't surprise me that MikroTik came in as far as easiest to learn last. Surprises me that Grandstream came in only at 8%, and I don't think Grandstream is all that difficult to learn. I just think people are not readily aware. Not enough people have embraced it yet. So I don't know that this right here is a true statement, but that's just me. Let's see. 40 votes. This came out 3 hours ago. In 2026, if presented with the task of having to run new networking cable, what would you install? 40 votes, 33% Cat 6, 45% Cat 6A, 5% Cat 7/8, and then 18% said fiber. And let's take a look at the comments on that one. Foxtech says back end full fiber, front end Cat 6. I can't disagree with that. My house is 5 years old now, and I'm looking back in retrospect saying, kind of wish I had run Cat 6A throughout the house. And that's just in 5 years. David says, that's exactly what I do. 10 gig backhaul and 1 gig to the desktops and devices. I don't really see the use case for Cat 7 and 8. Foxtech says, why not 25 gig, 2.5 gig? That might save some money. The network you might be able to drag out for 10 years. So interesting. All right. I imagine the pricing of 25 gig and 40 gig gear, though, is up there yet as far as consumers are concerned. All right. Let's see what we got going on in the comments. Uh-oh. Yeah, you can hear me. Check. Okay. Terrell says, I sent you something in the comments. Let's see, in Signal. Oh, cool, Terrell. Thank you. Maybe, Terrell, during the week, I don't care. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Send me like maybe a different angle of it too, so we could see a little bit of it better, and maybe just a short blurb of what it is. But thank you for sending that in. Thank you for sending that in. Yeah, that's a good point, Jeremy. I wonder, because I was in the same browser, I wonder, he's talking about YouTube Studio. I wonder if it spazzed out when I was switching between the two Google accounts. Probably. Okay. All right, let's go back, see where we're at. Tim says, Keith, great channel, Keith, from your new subscriber. Cool. You keep tempting me to give the Roadcaster video a go, it looks like. Oh, Keith, Tim, you're going to have to let me know if you decide that. And then Cloudflare is a good remote access option. Yes. This has given me one more reason to build a new house. How will Shannon feel about that, Keith? That's funny. That's awesome. All right, we went through the rack begging, which I said last week I wouldn't do. We went through the weekly poll. So with Synology, just one real quick thing. Let me get logged in. Let's switch over here. Oops, would help if I spelt my last name right. Forgot the D. I think I hit it, but the key didn't register. No, that time I put it before the L. Duh. There we go. And hopefully that'll get us in there. Okay. So with the DS1525 Plus, talked about the recent release of DSM 7.3, backing down on the hard drive lock of only using Synology branded drives. However, not the case with the NVMe M.2 slots. So for example, if we go take a look at Storage Manager, I have two no-name drives in the M.2 slots, and you can see here that they're unrecognized. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Right? So they're unrecognized, and I mean, for argument's sake, if you go to manage available drives and you say create storage pool, it says cannot perform this action, no drives are available or meet the requirements, and then you could see here M.2 drive 1 and drive 2 unrecognized, and then you see the message, the error message here. So that goes not only for creating a storage pool, but also for using non-Synology M.2 drives for caching as well. So even though they turned around and they backpedaled on the hard drive lock for regular hard drives, mechanical hard drives, and SSD drives in the bays, not the case with the M.2 drives. So I just wanted to bring that up to date there. And I know there's hacks out there. I know there's scripts that you can run that will take care of that. But again, I think with those hacks, that once you get a system update, you're back to square one again. So Keith saying, who said she would go with me? I have to go to the grandkids will be here, and I have to go. Grandkids will be here any second. Yes. Well, Keith, thank you for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed seeing the sparkle lights. Enjoy your grandchildren, and we will probably talk soon. Take care, my friend. Okay. I'm going to show you something. I don't go into detail with it much because it's very new to me. And I'm not talking about Home Assistant. I ventured out this week into something else. I graduated, as I say. Look at this. I am running Proxmox. I graduated from running VMs on Synology and Ugreen NAS boxes to running Proxmox, and I have a couple of virtual machines going already. I have the latest Pop OS, which I know Jeremy covered in his stream last night. That was the first one I installed this week earlier. Then Zorin. I have AdGuard Home running. here. So it was originally running in Ugreen OS, but I moved it to here. Then I have Ubuntu 2404 VM that I converted to a template. And then I also set up for now, I set up a Ugreen NAS NFS share. So I'm storing my images and my backups. I set up a backup to the NFS share on the Ugreen NAS, which was really super easy to set up the NFS share. So that worked out nicely. Unlike Jeremy, you're not going to see me diving in heavily. That's his thing, right? Where he goes into the weeds and the command line on all these virtual machines. I'm just happy that I got it installed. I'm happy I got the NFS share installed and that it's up and running and that I'm successfully creating virtual machines. The most recent one I installed was yesterday afternoon. I did Kali Linux 2025.4. And it's funny too, because it just goes to show you how much of a newbie I am with this kind of stuff. I gave it the same specs as I did Pop! OS and Zorin and Linux Mint, and boy, was it a dog, was it sluggish. So I text Jeremy, I was like, so either I underpowered my VM for Kali Linux or it's just a beast. And he wrote back and he's like, yeah, you need to like over resource it because it is demanding. So anyway, I'm learning as I'm going. I took a look at Proxmox backup server, and I know that the advantage to that is that it'll reduce the file store, the backup storage size. But for right now, that could be in my future. But for right now, for what I'm doing and playing and learning, I'm having a lot of fun. And God, what a difference. I thought, so when I started running VMs on the Ugreen NAS, I was like, wow, night and day over Synology. Wow. But now I feel like I've died and gone to heaven. Like, what a difference running on an actual true hypervisor on a dedicated piece of bare metal. Speaking of, don't laugh, but I'm going to show you a picture of what it's running on. So remember last week or the week before I said I scored on a desktop that I wanted to use for Proxmox? There's the beast that it's currently running on. It is a Dell. It's got a Intel Core i7 with 32 gig of RAM on it, and I figured, well, it's got 6 cores, so that's a start. But this is the machine where I was telling you, so here's the power button up here, that little orange light where I'm moving the mouse. In the back here, you have to press the reset button on the power supply in order for the machine to turn on and respond. So again, I'm not running anything mission critical. This is all for my fun, all for my learning, to try out different Linux desktops just to see which one I like. I always liked Pop! OS. I love Zorin OS. I could take it or leave Linux Mint, and Kali to me is just, I played with it briefly yesterday. It's like, yeah, it was fun, but I don't really know that, in my opinion, depending, I guess everything all depends on what your purpose and what your use cases are. But in my opinion, I would probably go with one of the either Pop! OS or Zorin to play with regularly over Kali Linux. But that's just me with very little experience and very little hands-on with Kali Linux. I will continue to explore it though, just in all fairness. So, but yes, I actually installed Proxmox, and I've been saying I wanted to do this for years and finally got it done. So, although I will say, one of the things I failed at with it was I tried exporting from Ugreen Linux Mint. I had a Linux Mint VM running in Ugreen NAS, and I tried exporting it as an OVA file, and importing it into Proxmox, and the whole process went fine. It got all successful messages, this, that, and the other thing. But then when I went to launch the machine, it started, and then it just, when I went into the console, it hung on booting from hard drive. And so I don't know. Again, this is where I need to. This is a good test to try to now dive in and try to figure out why, since everything I didn't get any error messages during the import process. So I'd be curious to see if I can get that to work. So anyway, Grish says, "Heck yeah, Proxmox is awesome." Yep, Joe, I finally did it. How many years? I've been talking about it. Terrell says, "Welcome to the club." Yeah, I'm learning the terminology. I'm learning, the different BIOS settings and stuff like that. So GrandStream has an OMV file you can import for their on-premise management. Yes, I don't use their on-premise management, but that's good to know. Thank you, Terrell. Here we go. Now I know I'm going to get the help I need between all of you guys. As long as the Linux distro has the things you want to use, that's all that matters. Point. OVA. I think I knew that's what you meant. Let's see. Run Rescue Villa to create an image of your mint from the Ugreen and restore it to Proxmox. Okay. I'll give that a shot. Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, I was going to reach out to you and say, hey, how come that? But I didn't want to bother you with that. So, but any event. Yeah, so I'm expanding my horizons between Home Assistant, which, by the way, the Zigbee controller still hasn't arrived. If you're still listening, Alonzo, I did order those RJ45 locks from AliExpress. In fact, they went on sale that Monday after last Saturday's stream. So I think I even got the 100 pack even a little cheaper than the $10. So those are on order. So yeah, it's things are good. I have nothing to complain about. So, all right. Wow, an hour and 29 minutes. And I didn't think this was going to go long. All right. I had a couple articles picked out just to end with like I normally do. I'm not going to go through all of them. I had 4 of them, but I'm just going to share 2. So I don't know if you guys have heard of this. I'm sure, Joe, you probably have. Amazon Leo. It's the low Earth orbit system that Amazon's putting into place to try to compete with Starlink. And from what it looks like, I have a feeling it's going to be pretty cool. So if we look like at the technology behind Leo, they have 3 different flavors. And you can see small, medium, and a large dish. And they're named appropriately. The Leo Nano is for just simply accordingly delivers up to 100 megabits per second download speeds in a 7 by 7 inch 2 by 2.2 pound package. And there's another look at it there. I don't have any pricing on it yet. It's currently the highest level, the Ultra, I believe it is being tested currently by in Enterprise, but their middle of the line is the Amazon Pro, Leo Pro. It provides supposedly going to provide up to 400 megabits per second download speeds, 11 by 11 inches, and weighs 5.3 pounds. And there's another better look at that. And they were saying that this dish right here, the Pro, Amazon is hoping to package it for like under $400 for consumers when it comes out. And then, yeah, the Amazon Leo Ultra predicted to have 1 gig download speeds and up to 400 megabits per second upload speeds. And then there's a closer look at it. It's 20 by 30 by 1.9 inches, and I'm not sure of the weight on that. Does it say it anywhere? Let's see. Yeah, 43 pounds on the large dish. So, kind of exciting. Competition is always good, right? So what's their prediction? So apparently for US coverage, from what I was reading, they need like about 578 plus satellites to be launched and in orbit in order to have successful coverage in the US, is from what I'm hearing. And they're planning on bringing it to consumers. It's right, like I said, right now, from what I was reading, it should be, it's being tested in enterprise, but they're going to technically bring it to consumers by Q1, January 2026. So that's pretty cool if they stick to that deadline. Apparently, full rollout, they were saying, according to like full rollout around the world, is not going to probably happen till 2027, 2028. But I came across that article. Thank you, Fresh RSS. And yeah, I was kind of excited to read that. That's something I might even try. I never bothered trying Starlink because, and I don't even know if the speeds are different now, but when it first came out, it was like, around 100 megabits per second. But this is something I might be interested in testing when it does make it to consumers, depending on what the price is, obviously. So yeah, Grish is saying Amazon Leo will have many years to catch up to Starlink. Well, looks like yeah, I mean, you're probably right, Dave, but from the presentation that they're putting out there, it looks like they're going full bore at trying to make that happen quickly. And Terrell says, I didn't know they were this far along. I know they just launched some satellites. Yep. They claim, again, I think right now they have just around 200 satellites launched, but by January Q1, they're going to have enough launch to bring it to consumers. So their constellation is lackluster. I would have too many gaps. I will wait for some years before even considering. Fair enough. Joe says, will be interesting to see how Amazon does with Leo. They are notoriously bad at building products. Anyone remember the Fire Phone? I don't know. I never heard of it, Joe. The actual Fire Phone? Amazon Fire Phone, huh? Let's see. Amazon Fire Phone. Let's see. Well, I don't know much about it, but I found someone selling one used on eBay. I never heard of this. When was this around? Interesting. Huh. Grish is laughing. He's saying, yeah, it's vaporware in my opinion. I tend to agree. Well, Joe, I have to trust your opinion on the Amazon thing because who would know more firsthand than you? But still, it seems exciting. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's good to have the competition. David says, I have Starlink and it's been pretty good. I get 300 down now. Okay, so they have up the speeds and about 35 up. My area is really congested. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Joe is saying 300 down is pretty standard. There is a site to look at the current coverage. I would have a gap of 5 to 15 minutes. Wow. Grish is saying pure marketing. Google Starlink constellation map and in that change it to Leo. All right. Let's see. All right. Let me welcome constellation data. Types. I'm just looking, David, because I've never been here, so I don't know where to look to change it, to be honest with you. If I'm even on the right site here, that's where I'm at. Oh, wait, Leo. There we go. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Well, they're not even fully launched yet. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not passing judgment one way or another. I just saw the article and I was like, that looks really cool. Joe says, I think 10 years ago ish for the phone, it was a huge inside joke at Amazon, I bet. Amazon is good at selling and reselling and rebranding. Then on cloud, good at building blocks, bad all the way around products. Fair enough. It should be the satellite map, space one. At the top, there's a drop down for constellations. Yep, right site. The Echo devices are the closest thing they've come to decent. Alexa is still garbage. Tried the Alexa Plus preview and it broke all my devices. Yeah, we tried the Alexa Plus for about 15 minutes and Lisa was like, oh no, I want Alexa back. So, anyway. And then the final article I want to share with you guys, and this is kind of like a fun thing for the holidays, sort of. Make sure that it didn't change though. Where is it? Oh. Let's see. The link might have changed. Let's see if I can find it. Ah, there it is. All right. So, has anybody heard for the holidays about the German pickle? So, Germans always put pickle ornaments on their trees. And the reason this article caught my attention is because for years, my wife, who thought she was German, according to her parents, told her she was German. But when she did her DNA testing, and again, I don't know how much stock you could put into that, but she had 0% German in her, which I thought was hysterical because like her whole life she grew up thinking she was German. But she, when I met her 30 years ago, told me about the pickle tradition with Germans putting the pickle on the tree, hiding it, and you got to go find it. And it was totally new to me growing up in an Italian family. I had never heard of it. So when I saw this article, I got to share this one to see how many people know this story. They talk about it being the story of that the pickles are a very old German tradition that went like this. On Christmas Eve in Germany, parents hid the glass pickle ornaments deep in the branches of the trees, correct? Once all of the other ornaments were in place, the next morning, the first child to find the pickle ornament got an extra gift from St. Nicholas, which the first adult to find it, not counting the ones who hid it, would have good luck for the next year. not too shabby. So that is the story of the myth of the pickle, and then the article goes on to explain about it being a myth and that most Germans have never heard of the pickle practice and all that stuff. So anyway, just a quick, cute holiday note. And I had some, not Arab, I had some Pakistani and some Turkish in me, which was news to my surprise. But yeah. And Terrell says you can have zero German DNA and still be from Germany. Correct. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream and hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend. I will be back next Saturday at 12:15. We'll take a look at the submission, the rack submission, the home lab rack submissions that I have so far. Terrell, if you want to send me a little bit more on yours, I'd be happy to include it so that we have 4 entries. Not that we're winning anything for it, but just 4 submissions to share with the community. So we'll do that next week. And that's it. I will keep you up to date on what goes on around here. If I do any more work outside or inside, we'll see. And that's all for now. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. We had a good turnout today. We had 20 people at one point, so I'm happy with that, and 17 likes. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks. Thanks for coming out and being with me each week. And until next Saturday, we'll see you then. Take care.